sclerosis warrior. She is also the author and publisher of the book Meeting Multiple Sclerosis, which not only shares her own journey, but also chronicles the stories of others who are conquering this disease. She is the founder of beatingmultiplesclerosis.com, an online community committed to healing. You can find her on social media, primarily on Instagram and YouTube, where she goes by the handle Beating My MS, where she is right now. So thank you so much for
we
coming
can go on with our day. You shared everything that I wanted to.
Good. Well, I wanted to at least, I always read people's bios because I'm like, I want to make sure I get it all in. So let's talk about your journey a little bit. When were you diagnosed with MS?
I was diagnosed in 2019, which is almost 5 years ago.
Not that long ago. Okay.
Yeah. It feels like it feels like I had my life before, and now I have a completely different life. So yes, 5 years is not too long, but it's so many things happened since. So can you talk a little bit about your journey so far? I mean, I know you now have a big following and you're doing, but talk about the beginning of like when you were diagnosed, what presented, what happened with your body, and then what made you want to go on an alternative healing journey through food. And it was a huge shock. And I know I'm not alone when I say that. It just came out of nowhere. Face numbness, hearing issue, doctor's appointments, diagnosis, MRIs, learning a new language, what's an autoimmune disease, what's MS. I didn't really know what MS is. And yes, my life just completely turned upside down 5 years ago almost. And at that time, we just got married, so we wanted to start a family. And I think that was my biggest reason why I didn't want to start a medication that I have to take for the rest of my life. And once I started doing research and finding people, who are on the same, like trying to heal naturally, it just somehow clicked, And that's what I've been doing ever since. I changed my diet, I changed my life, I changed everything I left my past behind and I started over. And it's working so far, and I'm so happy I did that.
Yeah, it's incredible. Good for you. I mean, I was diagnosed almost 20 years ago. It'll be 20 years in February. And back then, Instagram didn't exist. So people didn't have as much, and there like support groups back then were a lot of older people who had had MS a very long time. And at 24 years old, I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like and so I really met nobody my age. And now people, which is amazing with Instagram and social media, can meet a ton of people their age, right, in this community.
And it's so helpful. It's so helpful. I'm glad I was diagnosed now and not 20 years ago. I didn't know what to do.
It was very different, and there wasn't as much information. There weren't as many drug options. There were like no drug options. And I did alternative medicine for 14 years. So, I mean, I was doing what you do now for the first 14 years of my diagnosis. So I'm all on board with what you're doing, and it's what I did, and it's what I've done for a long time. And I still do it, even though the past 5 years ago, I got on a drug. But, but I've been doing it too. It's Dr. Walls. When I met Dr. Walls, she said, you wouldn't be where you are if you hadn't done what you had done. Like, you wouldn't be walking if you had not done what you had done with diet.
I trust her, and I completely agree with her.
Yeah. So it's incredible, and it's remarkable, and it's very cool for me, somebody who for 14 years did it on my own, not knowing anybody, and did the whole alternative medicine route, homeopathy, diet, exercise, all the things. And I did, like I said, I didn't know anybody. So it's very cool now. There's like a community of people who are understanding. They don't think, like, people thought I was nuts that I didn't want to get on an MS drug, right? I mean, they were like, what do you mean? Well, then it must not be MS and blah, blah, blah. I had so many people criticize me, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And so yeah, it's very cool now to see a community of, and women too. Like it's cool to see a lot of women coming together because it's diagnosed more in women than men. So what made you want to do this book, which is so exciting? Can we talk about the book?
Sure. Yes. So going back to my diagnosis, and I know it was 5 years ago, but even at that time, I was trying to find people like you who are managing MS, not only naturally, but thriving with MS,
Yeah,
living a good life and not having constant flare-ups
right,
and symptoms. So
right.
I find this lady on YouTube and I was watching her videos and I was so inspired by her because Dr. Walls, yes, she was the one, but you need more
Yeah,
proof.
of course.
The lady disappeared and I was so scared, not scared, but I was like, oh my God, like I have to find her. But then that was it. I really couldn't find anybody else. So I created this Instagram account and I started to reach out other people. And nobody was publicly saying that they are not on medication. But when I started talking to them, we find so many things in common. So in February, when I had this idea about the book, I wanted to have a collection of stories in this book who have the same mindset, who are managing their MS and thriving with MS.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to create like a tools, like a guide for people so they can see what we are doing,
Yeah,
because I had to read so many books to just put together the pieces of what I should be doing. But this book has everything, and that was the inspiration behind it. Like I felt like we need a book like this,
yeah,
when somebody was diagnosed, how they coped with the disease, how they shared it with their family. So each story in the book covers from the beginning until today. And not only that, each person who shares their story, they have their contact information. So in like 10 years or 5 years, if you want to check out how they are
yeah.
doing, you can look them up on Instagram, you can contact them. Everybody is just so like helpful, like you can reach out to them, you can ask them questions, and I think this is what's about, you don't feel alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's important. I mean, it's what I'm doing in the program that I teach, which is all about mindset, right? It's all about changing our mindsets. And people in my program, some are on meds, some aren't on meds, and it doesn't matter
Yeah,
because
it doesn't
everybody
matter.
it doesn't matter because everyone can still come to it. And some are like me, I'm on a med, but I'm also very into what you're doing. And it's what I did forever and it's what I still do. So, I mean, I think it doesn't matter. You can do everything and all of it or both or whatever. But it's all about community at this point,
Yes.
right? And I think that's so awesome, and I'm excited. I haven't read it because I was out of the country for a few weeks on vacation, so I'm like, I still haven't
Make
dove
sure you
in it.
have a highlighter and make sure you have a notebook next to you, because I
Okay,
know you know everything about how to manage like naturally, but
cool.
I'm sure you find like
There's always,
information hidden in the
yeah.
lines.
I still find information when
Yeah,
people talk about stuff on Instagram
me
or
too.
wherever. Yeah, where I'm like, oh my gosh, that's cool. I want to try that, Yeah, there's totally still so much information and everybody has different tricks that they've learned or they've kind of like taken up and tried on their own. So I think that's super cool. So the book just launched
Yeah.
in the beginning of October. So what are your next like plans with it? Like, I saw on your website, are you doing retreats or
Yeah,
gatherings?
that's the future. That's my plan. But right now we are working on the audio version
Oh,
because we have the paperback and the Kindle available on Amazon and on
okay.
our website. If somebody cannot purchase it on Amazon, they can just download it from our website. But yes, the audio version is next, and we are actually hosting a lunch party on Zoom in the beginning of November.
Cool.
So anybody can meet the writers, ask questions, talk about the book, just a fun
That's
1 hour
fun.
event. And yes, about the retreats, that's my dream
Yeah,
to have just to go somewhere nature and learn from each other
yeah.
and be inspired
Love that.
and share information and just enjoy ourselves,
Well,
because
I'll be
these
there.
meetings,
So
okay.
sign me up. I'll come. I'll come. Where did you get certified as a health coach? Are you IIN or
No,
somewhere?
it's just a Dr. Sears Institute. I get my certificate when my son was 8 months old. And I think that was the beginning of my learning journey, I would say. Um, I'm not practicing as
Yeah.
health coach because honestly, I don't have time
Yeah. Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just a good thing to have. And I was doing it mainly to learn, because that's what
Yeah.
I do, constantly researching, learning, and
Yeah. 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 So, and you've got two kids? Yeah.
yes, yes. And both of them after my MS diagnosis.
Yeah. Good for you. Yeah. Well, a lot
I don't
of
know if it's good or not.
women, no, but it's like a lot of women go into remission when they're pregnant.
Yes,
Uh,
I had the best pregnancies.
yeah.
Recovery was good too, but still having issues, like my time and sleeping and just scheduling, and it's a lot.
Yeah, 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 it's a lot. It's actually why I didn't have kids. Um, Not the only reason, but I knew with my body and my sensitivities, I was like, it was going to be too much. And even if I had the money for full-time like help and everything, it just wasn't. I was never one of the women who was like dying to have children. I just never have been. I always wanted to adopt. But then it kind of came down to like, but even, I mean, adoption, even if it's an infant or a 5-year-old, I mean, it's still a lot of work. And I just knew that my body, it was going to be a lot. And so motherhood is intense,
It's
no
the,
matter.
when somebody told me before I had children, like motherhood is the hardest job, I was like, yeah, right, like stop it.
Yeah, yeah,
And now I'm like, oh my God, like what did I get myself into? It's super exhausting,
yeah,
super hard. I give all the credit, not even to moms, to dads too. My
yeah.
husband this morning, he was asking my 4-year-old, when are you gonna go to college? So
Yeah, it's tiring. I know. And we have 11 nieces and nephews. I think 11. It might be 13 now because one of my sister-in-laws just is fostering 2 boys. But anyway, we have a lot of nieces and nephews. So it's great because we can just have them over, have fun, whatever, and get them back. Because that's just, we're like, we love them so much. And I love kids, and all my friends' kids call me Aunt Megan. But yeah, it's a lot. And I've seen it so many over the years with friends, family, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I just don't think with my little 5'2" body and everything I've been through, like, no, it was not going to be my thing. So my hat's off to you. I know it's a lot. It
how
is.
are you feeling these days?
I'm good. I mean, I'm really good. The thing that was interesting, which is why I went to Dr. Walls like a year and a half ago, I think. Because it was like so my left leg has always been my biggest issue. I was diagnosed with only one lesion on my brain, but my left side of my body, like I lost feeling on the left side of my body and had bad vertigo. And so that my left side's always been the side that was affected. But it was in the last 2 years that all of a sudden my walking was a problem, like more of a problem. And I was like, what is going on? Because it was just weird, like after 20 years, almost, well, now it's been almost 20 years of like being very active, yoga, exercise, dance, all the things. And and skiing, I was a big skier. Then a few years ago, it was like suddenly all those things got more challenging. And so it's been a weird sort of like, wait, hold on a second, because I've been super healthy for so long. And so that's been my only thing. But at the same time, I've gotten, it's getting better. I just bought the Psionic, which is amazing. I also have the New Fit device, so I work out with both of those. The Psionic totally helped me on my trip to Italy because I was able to walk more than I've walked in like 2 years probably, which was incredible. And so it's interesting because I went to Dr. Walls because I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing all the things and I've been doing all the things for a very long time. Um, and, she said to me, if you hadn't done all the things, you wouldn't be walking. I mean, I walk. It's not that I took my dog to the beach this morning, but it's more challenging certain things. At certain times, fatigue can come, like when I'm more tired, it's worse. So certain foods affect it for sure. So that's super important. But yeah, I'm doing great. I mean, I really can't complain. I'm doing great. It's just an interest, and I'm such a believer of anything's possible.
Yes. I was
So
about to say, you mentioned it before, mindset,
yeah,
the importance of it.
yeah. So I'm such a huge believer that anything's possible, and I meditate every day. I visualize myself doing things that either I used to be able to do or that I want to do better, and I
Or
see
you
myself.
will do.
Yeah, exactly. So I see myself doing things in visualization, and I swear it works
Yes.
because I literally like saw myself in meditation, in visualizations, walking a ton in Italy, and it was like I was in Italy, and it was even better than I could have imagined.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I very much live what I preach, and do what I practice, what I teach, and it's really, really important. Mindset is everything, because you can be the victim or you can be the champion, right? And even if you are in a wheelchair, you can still be the champion of your diagnosis, just with the way you approach it. And I'm a
100%.
huge, huge believer in that. So, yeah, so thank you for asking that. But yeah, I'm good.
Yes.
I'm
There are
good.
so many stories in the book that they were in wheelchair, they had issues, and just like you said, meditation, mindfulness, doing all these practices and changing their diet helped, and it's a proof that it's working. Yes,
Yeah,
there might not be research studies on that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
hopefully Dr. Wall is going to come out with few
I
soon.
know.
Yeah.
I know, which is amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting, so I think so in my instance, I have had a challenging time in detoxing my body. And when I say that, like clearing out, just getting things to flow properly, detoxing the bad stuff out. And a lot of that is lymphatic, right? And getting lymphatic moving. And so I do lymphatic with a woman like once a month, but I am incredibly sensitive. And so I it's important to get that stuff out, but I've had a hard time. And in the past, so 5 years ago when I tried to do that, it led me to my worst MS exacerbation ever. So that's how sensitive I am. So a lot of people aren't as sensitive as I am in terms of that stuff and have an easier time with it. And so if I did have an easier time with it, then I probably could have even been even further along, you know what I mean, with my healing with alternative, and wouldn't have needed a medication, which was a very challenging mindset shift to get around I'm now going to take a drug for this, that was hard. But it was a good thing in the end. It was a good thing.
Have you done a microbiome test?
A microbiome test. I've done so many tests. I'm trying to think if I've done a microbiome. I mean, I've done stool
Yeah,
tests.
it's one of them, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if I've done a specific one about microbiome. I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah.
I've been seeing a functional medicine practice, and they helped me. It's just they send me on this blood work twice a year or 3 times a year, and it's like longer than my book. Like it's super long.
Yeah.
And they check everything, and based on that, they recommended me the supplements that I need, which really helped. but also I find these companies, actually, I'm from Romania,
Yeah.
and I lived in Hungary for a few years, and there's a company called the Microbiome Lab,
Mm-hmm.
and I did a microbiome test, and based on that, they can tell you what's in your gut, and we all know that everything starts in your gut,
Oh yeah.
and then brain, the two is connected.
Yep.
And after the results, they recommended me additional enzymes, probiotics, different supplements. And I just felt the results instantly, it was just remarkable. And
Well,
there are ways to find out what's
yeah.
wrong and find the root cause.
Yeah, I know that there's a certain enzyme that I think there's a liver enzyme that I'm missing, which causes, because I do know I've done some kind of test along the way. I've been to so many different functional medicine doctors over the years, because I was in New York and LA for 14
Mhm.
years and Nashville for 5 years, and now I'm back home in my hometown in Charleston. So I've had doctors in so many places around the country. Um, but that's cool. I would love to learn more about that. When we should talk about that offline, because I'd
Okay,
love to get,
thanks.
yeah, I'd love to get the name, because, you know, anything is awesome. I love studying information. I think I got to a point though where I've done so many protocols over the years. I've done IV protocols, hyperbaric, I've done all the things, and some really helped. And obviously, tons got me to where I am now.
Yeah.
But I think in the last year, I was like, I'm gonna like pause on the physical protocol, other than obviously I'm still doing my diet and taking tons of supplements and doing those important crucial things. But I was like, I don't want to follow somebody's like specific, it has
Yeah.
to be like this.
It never works for me. I try
Yeah,
different diets. It just has to feel
yeah,
the right diet.
yeah.
And I am actually writing about this in my chapter, that not everybody is the same. And
No.
you have to experiment, you have to
Totally.
try different things. And don't get discouraged if one is not working,
Yeah.
because there are things that it's going to make you feel better.
Everyone's body is different. And that's when, yeah, so I kind of came to the conclusion that, well, I believe anything's possible, but I also am like, meditation was where I was like, that's the protocol I'm taking right
Yeah.
now. Like, because with getting more in touch, in tune with myself, so many things were able to open up. I wasn't like, because for so long I felt like I was chasing my cure,
Yeah.
and I would go to this doctor or that doctor and be like, well, they're going to fix me, and I'm going to get, because I believed that it was going to work. And I totally believe in alternative medicine. And I was like, this is the one, like they've got but then it was like, I'd have a hard time detoxing, and then I'd go through hell. And so I finally, when I had my worst episode 5 years ago, through a lot of meditation and therapy and all the deep work that I had to do to go through the mindset shift of, my doctor said to me, Megan, it's time. Like, you have to get on a drug. Like, it's time. And it was very hard for me to wrap my head around that after so many years of trying so many things. And finally, I came around to it through meditation and therapy. I came around to it. But through that, I realized that acceptance is the
Yeah.
key. I had
So
been fighting I didn't accept, I wasn't, like, I would say that, yeah, I was diagnosed with MS, but I didn't fully accept that that was actually what's happening in my body. And it wasn't until I accepted it. I still don't say I have it. I still say I was diagnosed with it, because I don't believe in like owning a label. And and your cells are always listening to what you're saying. So if your cells are hearing that you have it, or you are it, or it is yours, then they're hearing you take it on. And I was like, no, that's not how that's not how it's going to be for me. And so that's what I teach also. But yeah, it's important, and mindset's important, and acceptance is the first key. And that's what I really discovered. And so
I feel like you are saying everything that is in my mind that I feel
yeah.
like you are a mirror of me, because
Oh,
I completely agree with everything you say. It's
oh,
just so important.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's so important. And it's like it doesn't matter. It got to the point where like it didn't matter a year ago that I needed to buy a cane because I accepted it and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make this fun. So like I took myself to the pharmacy and I was like, oh, I'm gonna see what's there. And I found one that was pink and I was like, cool, I'm gonna get that, you know? So like it became a thing. And now I'm like, cool, okay, whatever. Like because of the acceptance part, like, yeah, would I love to run a mile? Sure. And do I believe I could maybe do that one day? Sure. Although I hate to run. I always hated to run even before, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? I would love to ski again. I do miss skiing. But you know what I mean? Like, it's all about the mindset, and acceptance is the first step to the healing. And I've always said that. Well, I said that for 5 years when I discovered it on my own. It took me
I
14 years to
am so
discover it.
happy that I discovered it. So, you know, after reading all these books, I had a list of like the most important thing is diet, the second is
Yeah.
mindset, and then, you know, exercise and all those other things. And once I started reading these stories in the book, I was like, I think that's when something clicked. And I'm like, diet is not number one. Mindset and the way I look at this disease and
Yeah.
how I think about this disease, that's number one.
Yeah.
Because if I eat thinking that this is gonna make me sick, I'm gonna be sick. By doesn't matter if I eat veggies or meat, you know,
Right.
or
Yeah.
sugar.
Totally.
So once I because last summer I had a very hard time. Like I couldn't go to restaurants. Everything I ate was just giving me like anxiety, you know, like I just felt like something is off. And once I did this mind shift, I'm like, no, whatever I eat, it's gonna make me feel better. You know, it's just such a small thing. And plus, I also read Joe Dispenza's book, Becoming Supernatural. I think that helped me.
I'm going.
Um,
Yeah, I love his. I'm going to his retreat in December.
you
Yeah.
are. I can't. I can't. I would love to, but I can't because of the kids. But maybe
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
day I'll meet you there.
Yeah. No, I just, yeah, I'm a huge believer in what he does, and I'm very excited to go. It'll be my first time, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Again, believing that anything is possible, and he and his work is proof of that. So yeah, that's awesome. So I'm excited to read your book and all these stories
I
and
can't
meet.
wait to hear your feedback on it. I
And
feel like you're gonna be associating your life and your with every single person in the book because you're gonna find
yeah,
so
yeah.
many things in common that I wish you are in the book actually.
Oh, I wish I was too. You know, it's funny. I wrote a book in 2010. I was supposed to be published, and literally the publisher pulled the deal right as I was turning in the
Wow.
manuscript. And I was devastated, but I realized now that that was 13 years ago, that it wasn't my story
Mm.
because now have so much more of a story than I did even 13 years ago, and I wasn't ready to tell my story.
Yeah.
So it was actually a blessing, and it was hard in the beginning. I was like devastated, but then, you know, slowly but surely, and especially in these last 5 years, I've been like, oh yeah, God, if that book had come out, that was not my book. That was not my story to tell. Now I have a better story to tell. So eventually, maybe. Eventually.
Hopefully we're gonna come out with number two
Are you?
of this. And everybody keep asking. I don't know if you read the reviews on Amazon, they're just so inspiring and it just makes me wanna come out, I mean publish
Yeah.
because I already shared my story.
Yeah.
Maybe in 10 years I can add
Yeah.
more, but I would love to share other people's stories because I think we can all learn from each other.
Yeah. Incredible. Well, I'm there. If you want me, I'll be part of it. So thank you.
We
That was
made
an
so
honor.
many plans, just like meeting each other the first time. I can't wait to see you in
I
person.
I know. We're gonna do a retreat. We're gonna go to Dr. Joe. We're gonna we're gonna write a book together. Um, there's so many people commenting in here too. We've been like full on. I haven't even looked at all of them. So let's see. What else was I gonna ask you? Um, yeah, I mean, where are you now? How are you feeling now? Let's go to that.
Great.
Okay.
Other than not sleeping and not
Yeah,
having my mind work properly, I don't have any symptoms, any physical symptoms. And if I do, they are manageable, you know. If
yeah,
I had face numbness, I know it's because I ate something
yeah.
and I just need to relax. Like I find so many things throughout the years that helped me. Like I had leg pain few months ago. I went to cryotherapy.
Mm.
In a week, I was back to normal. So, but most of the symptoms, I don't really know if it's MS related or not. I didn't get an MRI since when was the last time I got an MRI? Like 2 years ago. And I promised myself, being optimistic, that the next MRI I'm getting, it's in 2025, and it's gonna be lesion free.
Good for you. Yep.
So
Yep.
yes, thank God I have no complaints.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Amazing. Yeah, of course. No, I love that. Yeah, it's so fascinating how food can change, like affect symptoms for me too, like so quickly. If I eat something, um, I'll know it right away
Yeah.
that that was not for me. Um, so
And once you start eating really clean,
yeah,
then
it
that's
affects
when you
more.
see yes, because if I tell this to somebody who eats everything, they're like, yeah, I don't know what to pay attention to.
Yeah,
But once you clear out your diet, like no gluten, no dairy,
yeah,
and you suddenly eat something, you're gonna know like your body tells you
yeah.
something, it's not right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, I just went to Italy, so everyone was like, "Oh, you can eat everything over there. It's fine." But actually, in Italy, which is really interesting, they have a huge like conglomerate. It's called the AIC. I think it's for celiacs. And now every menu in Italy, almost every single menu, had all the allergens listed for every menu item, which was incredible. So like it would be like number one is gluten, number three is dairy, number five is shellfish, whatever. And so you could order based off of that, but they did all have, and I don't eat grains typically on my normal day to day, but I was like, I'm in Italy. so so I had gluten-free pasta, but their gluten-free pasta is like much cleaner than even whatever you would get here. Because their grains are cleaner than the grains the US are, like they're all sprayed with
Yeah.
pesticides here. And so yeah, but I had a few because their dairy, I mean their cheese and stuff is like unpasteurized, so it's like really clean. So I had a few bites of cheese. I had a gluten-free pizza twice, but you know, and so I was super bloated, but like whatever. I was in Italy. But yeah, and then I come home and I'm back to my normal, like no dairy, no grains, no gluten, no nothing. But you know, I was like, it's okay. If it's okay because their food is so clean over there.
Yeah, it's cleaner.
So much
There
cleaner.
everywhere is changing, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah,
I was in Romania and few months ago, and I that's the food I grew up eating. You know, I cannot say no to my mom's cooking,
right.
and bread and everything is just so delicious. And I didn't have the same symptoms I have here when I eat those things, but I felt like a train hit me. You know, I felt like a zombie next day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wasn't bloated, but it's just you just have to listen to your body what
Yeah,
it can tolerate, and
totally.
that's what diet comes down to. Somebody was asking about the
Yeah.
wash protocol. I think that question is for you.
How
Uh,
do you manage the intrusive thoughts? That question?
hold on.
I see one that says, how do you manage the intrusive thoughts of foreboding, the oh my God, life is over type of invasive thoughts? So I will answer that question. Um, First of all, your life is not over. This is from Wandering Liz, LYS. Um, I would say your life is not over, and that you have to remind yourself that anything is possible, and continually remind yourself of that, and practice gratitude every morning when you wake up, whether it's little things. It can be, but mean it, the gratitude. Be grateful for what you do have that you can do, and, focus on what you can do and not what you can't do. I think a lot of people fear the future, but the future is 1 second from now. Anything could happen in 1 second that could change your life. So why not be present? I think what happens is, you're welcome. I think you have to be present with your moment, from moment to moment. And I tell people to get out of their heads and into their bodies. And I do a practice where you breathe in, you close your eyes, breathe in, and say I and your name. So I would say, I'm Megan, get out of my head and into my body, and then I release. And you can feel yourself drop into your body when you do that. And that will take you out of your brain going crazy and just let you drop in and be present. So anyway, hopefully that answered that question. I tried this diet for a year, and the next MRI, the number of lesions decreased. Yeah, I believe it. I'm assuming you're talking about the Walls protocol.
I don't see all the questions, so I like you.
How to handle feeling the burden to those around you. How to handle feeling the burden to those around you. I think my answer to that would be, well, to be as independent as you can, and to be present with, but also to allow, right? To receive the love from other people, to allow yourself to receive. I think that can be hard for people, to receive help. I know it can be hard for me too. But I think it's about being empowered within yourself too, and finding that empowerment, which is something I teach. It's about being empowered, and with your thoughts, your mind, body, and spirit. And when you can do that, then you can ask for help when you need it in an empowered way. And I feel like that's important. We might have just to know that such diet might lead to deficiencies. I don't know what that. Maybe mercury leads to intestinal permeability to reduce the effect of this intoxicant. We have to avoid gluten, dairy. Fish can be contaminated with mercury. Yes, it can. Fish can be contaminated with mercury. Some people only eat fish and vegetables. I eat meat.
Meat too.
Yeah, I think meat's really important. I think organ meat is important. I'm glad you're going to get a cool cane, Blaze, Shawnee. I have a collection now, and they're fun fashion statements. And I used to be a stylist, so for me, accessories fun. How do you do all that with a job? I'm not sure what is maybe for you. Does Dr. Walls figure out something that helped you? I know I'm doing level 1 on her diet and way better than last year. If that was for me. So Dr. Walls specifically in my case, because I was already doing so much of her diet, because when I found out about, hi Shayla, that was nice. Shayla was one of my students. She fixed her mindset because of my program, which is cool. Her life has totally changed. It's incredible. So yeah, Dr. Walls, I was doing her, so before I met Dr. Walls, well, no, when I discovered Dr. Walls, it was 5 years ago when I was having my worst MS exacerbation ever that somebody told me about her. But I was already gluten, dairy, grain, alcohol, everything free when I found out about her. So, but I wasn't eating organ meat and I wasn't eating enough fats. And so adding those things in, because I was experiencing brain fog, which was weird at that time. So I started eating more avocado, eating some organ meat, taking organ meat pills, which has helped me. And then last year when I met her, she told me, because she tweaked a couple little things and added a couple little things, but nothing major in terms of my supplement protocol, because I was already doing all the things. But she did tell me to get the New Fit, which I did get, if you guys don't know about it, it's a device that is really awesome. It's direct current stimulation, and it helps with retraining your muscles and all that kind of stuff. So it's an expensive tool, but I did invest in that.
Do you have a red light therapy?
Yes, I do have a red light. Mine's called the Lumi light, and I love it. It's awesome. Um, Organ meat supplements. I'm taking, I think they're called, do you have some that you're taking?
No, no, and I should add that because I eat liver maybe once a month, but I know
Okay.
it's not enough.
Yeah, no, no, I take organ meat pills, and now I can't remember the name of them. DM me, and I can give you the name
Oh.
because they're downstairs. I, I can't think of the name. And I think Dr. Walls told me that about them. So anyway, DM me, whoever that was. And um, yeah, I use red light therapy on different parts of my body, my brain, my back, my spine, like where lesions are, on a hip because occasionally I have some hip pain. Um, yeah, what do you use red light therapy on?
I just have one sits next to me when I meditate, and I don't even know if it's working, but it's just gives me so much peace,
Peace.
and
Okay,
it just
cool.
makes my day start like amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
if I feel like anxious or depressed, I just sit there for 5 minutes and it helps.
Yeah. So mine are like things it's a pad.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like an iPad, iMask, and a pad that's
You
like this big.
know,
Um,
it's so funny because if 5 years ago I would listen to myself talking about this, I would be like, what language are we talking? Like, I
now
wouldn't be
people
able to
know.
see myself doing all these things, including meditation, gratitude, like all the journaling. And now I'm like a different person. That's why I said like MS changed my life.
Yeah, right? And that's what's so cool. I think what that's such a part of the mindset shift too. It's like it's actually a gift. I know it's crazy to say
When
that.
I
So,
said that the first time out loud on Instagram, you have no idea how many people attacked me for
yeah,
saying
I
that.
believe that. I believe that because their mindset wasn't right. Because it's your mindset. You have to like because what it is MS or any illness, symptoms, anything are your body's way of communicating with you. It's your body's way of knocking on your door and going, "Hey, hey, hey, pay attention, listen to me, something's not right." And I talk about this because it's so important to be friends with our bodies and with our symptoms because you can learn so much from them. And I lead meditations with touching base with your symptoms, naming your symptoms, learning what, like who they are, what they're wearing, what they look like, what they're, like what's their character in your story. And it's a big part of what we do at the MS stage. And it's vitally important because when you do that and you can change your relationship with your symptoms or with VMS, then, or any illness, then you can start become friends with them and learn the gifts because honestly, they're just there to give you messages to like wake you up and
Yeah.
make you realize that something's not right. And it can either be their message could be like my leg, her name, I named her Roxy. It's the name that came to me in meditation. And that's what I teach people to do that. It's like the first name that comes to you. And her name is Roxy, and she has taught me to slow down because I have been such a go-getter my whole life and constantly, I mean, I was a stylist for over 10 years. I traveled all the time and just work, work, work and loved what I did, but like it was just constant go, go, go. And she has taught me to slow down and be in the present moment and enjoy life more. And what a gift because it's short, right? Life is short. And that, I think ultimately it's like that's what MS teaches us at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't agree more.
But I believe you. I'm sure people were not nice about that.
Yes, but I completely understand their perspective because they've been through so much and they are trying, they don't have answers and
Yeah,
they are still looking, and it takes time and
of course.
acceptance, like you said, it's number one.
Yeah. And I think it's also, you there's so much more information out there now, but a lot of people believe the first doctor they walk into, you know, what I try to teach is like doctors are not God, and they don't know your bodies the way you know your body, and you have to learn your body. If you don't know your body well, then you have to get to know your body well, and that's what this forces, right? And so I think it's a process, and some people it takes longer than other people. Some people need a little help along the way, some coaching or some inspiration, like your book. It just takes time, like you said.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me today.
Are you kidding me? Yes. Thank you for joining. Thank you for this was your idea. I love it. We need to do it again.
For sure. Yes. Do you have the book? Do you want me to send you a copy?
No, I'll get a copy. You don't have to do that. I want everybody to get
because
something.
I can't wait to hear your feedback. So
I can't wait to read it. Yeah, no, I'm getting a copy today. I'm ordering it right now when we get off. And tell everybody where they can get it. It's on Amazon, right?
Yes, it's on Amazon and it's on our website, beatingmultiplesclerosis.com.
Yeah. And awesome. And for those of you who don't know me, my 12-week program just went live. I'm launching my next round. Just went live this morning. So if you want to learn more, you can go to my website, themsstage.com, or go to my link in bio, and would love to have you sign up for the program because it's pretty awesome. Can you write the title of the book here, please? It's Beating Multiple Sclerosis is the title of the book. I
hope I spelled it correctly.
Did you write it?
Yes, I just did. Okay. But I don't see any of the comments. I only saw the first few. I don't know if it popped up.
I didn't see it pop up. It's beatingmultiplesclerosis.com. I mean, Beating Multiple Sclerosis is the name of the book on Amazon.
Yes.
And how many stories is it total?
Originally, the plan was 30.
Okay.
And, this number popped up in my meditation. But we end up with 37, including mine.
Amazing.
Yes.
Incredible.
I think men and at 40 people and 3 people, life happens, but everybody else, they just send the story and we edited. It took us 8 months, and honestly, I'm looking at it and I still can't believe that it's out and people ordering it and loving it and sharing it on social media, and
amazing.
It's just just amazing.
So exciting, and it was however many people it was supposed to be. That's how it was.
Yes.
Yeah, it's incredible. Someone wrote, it's brilliant, emotional, but highly inspiring. Every story is so relatable.
Oh, thank you so much for reading. Thank you.
Yay. That's awesome. I can't wait. I was not interested in changing my diet until reading this book. Wow. That's a big statement.
I just got chills hearing this. That was the whole mission. And I feel like it's accomplished. Like, we are not after medication. We just want to share that this is something that you can incorporate in your life to help you along the way. And
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, one of my students came to me. She was like, in her mind, she knew the book is called Beating Multiple Sclerosis. In her mind, she knew she needed to change her diet, but she was eating cake and cupcakes and all the things. And I'm not a wellness coach. I'm not a, I'm not certified health coach, but I, it's how I live. So people ask me about it when I'm teaching. And so I said to her, just try it for 30 days, like try to cut stuff out. And it's like made a huge difference because she did it. And it's just, and people are always like, oh, I couldn't possibly. I'm like, you can do anything for 30 days.
Yes.
That's how I like to say, try it for 30 days.
I used to do crazy diets just to lose weight.
Yeah.
Because I had that mindset.
Right.
I can't even go that far to tell you, like, in my entire life, I struggled losing 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I lost it by not eating. And then I gained it back and maybe more. And once I switched my diet, eating, right now I'm on the AIP diet, like mainly focusing on fruits, vegetables, meat, and fish.
Okay.
I don't have any problems with gaining weight. I am 124 pounds
Yeah.
since,
Yeah.
and I didn't gain weight during my 2 pregnancies, and I lost whatever I gained in like 2 weeks. It's just amazing. If somebody would told me like get on the paleo diet,
Right.
paleo
Yeah.
diet from the beginning, I don't think I would have MS. That's how
Right.
far
Right.
I go, like saying these things.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I believe that. I totally believe that because we didn't know back then. I mean, but I was diagnosed 20 years ago, and immediately, by the way, which we didn't talk about, 20 years ago, I immediately went gluten free. And I still ate a little bit of dairy, which I didn't even have dairy. I mean, I don't know. I ate some eggs. I don't eat eggs now. Dr. Well's book had a menu plan for a week, and that's what helped me. It's like I needed a plan. Yeah, that totally helps to have a plan. I have a hard time because I love sweets and I drink soda. That's what I know I should cut out, but I have the hardest time. Try it for 30 days. Cut out, and what I would say is, I don't know. I would try to cut it out all at once, but if you had to maybe choose one or the other, start with sodas. Yeah, I would
Or
start with sodas.
or if you miss the bubbly, that
Yeah,
taste, you can always do sparkling water with some electrolytes in it or something
yeah,
that mimics.
yeah,
There are so many alternatives that you can replace sweets, and even just try like healthier options.
yeah.
There are so many good brands
Spendress
that you
is
can.
not bad.
And
I
I
mean,
think the book that's why it's amazing, because it has like brand recommendations. It has diet, cooking tips, like all those things that
yeah.
I didn't know where to start. So I had to learn all those things.
Yeah, you can also make your own fizzy water at home, like one of those, I don't know what it's called. It like creates your own sparkling water and you can put fruit in there and stuff. Oh yeah, somebody wrote put fruit in sparkling water. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you can create things like that, which is cool. We could talk forever.
I know.
So
Can somebody go and pick up my daughter? She finishes soon.
I wish I could. Where do you guys live? I didn't even ask
We
that.
live in Long Island. I used to live in the
Okay.
city when I was
Okay.
diagnosed, and
Yeah.
I think that's, the lifestyle we were living
So,
is just
yeah.
contributed to
Yeah.
the flare-ups and
Yeah.
everything.
New
But
York,
like you
I mean,
said, I'm
I lived
grateful.
in New York a long time, New York, and I come back, so we should try to get together because I do try to come back a few times a year to the city if you're,
Yeah.
you know, ever in the city. Um, but yeah, it's a tough life, New York, even without chronic illness.
Yes.
It's intense. And it's changed a lot since the pandemic too,
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, it's getting
unfortunately.
better now.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I
yeah,
heard.
yeah. Yeah, I went back in June and May and June, and every time I go back since then, it's been better. I'm like, okay, maybe it's going a little bit more back to normal, but I don't know if it'll ever fully be the same that it used to
Yeah.
be. But anyway,
We
I'm glad
also
I lived it.
changed, so that might not be for us anymore. That's what I keep
Yeah,
telling my husband.
totally, totally. We're different people. Yeah, exactly. You are so welcome. Somebody said, thanks, ladies. Until next time. Thank you. And this has been wonderful. We have to hop off because well, you have to go and I'm gonna make sure this saves and we record it so that we can share this video. And this has been a pleasure. Everybody go get Beating Multiple Sclerosis on Amazon or on beatingmultiplesclerosis.com, Agota's book. Did I say it
No,
right?
it's not my book. Sorry, it's not my book. It's our
Okay.
book.
Your book,
37 people.
37 people's stories
Yes, it's
about
everybody living with MS and
living with
thriving.
MS and thriving. Okay. So, yeah, make sure to go get that, order it. And yeah, and if you're interested in my program, DM me, go to my website, themsstage.com, or go to my link in bio and you'll, I just opened enrollments this morning. So come join us.
I have to check that out.
Yes. Thank you. Well, it's good to meet you finally.
You too.
And
All right. Have a nice week.
thank you. You too. Thank you so
Talk to you
much.
soon.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.